The Dressia system in Aikatsu Planet is a surprisingly complex web of themes and inspired designs. Today I'd like to complete my review series by doing a deep dive on all the Dressia, what they are, their inspirations, and the dress designs. We've got a lot to cover, so let's carry on from where we left off. Last time we covered Fairy, Jewel, and Music, and today we're going to cover Horoscope, Sweets, and Story. Feel free to watch them in order or jump around, but with that said, let's get right into it. The horoscope type are based on constellations, but due to the wide pool of inspiration, this type is loosely united by a star motif. The first Dressia we meet is Love Sagittarius. It's got a pretty vague body, but I do love the arrow pick in the hair and the bow hands. It's a really unique design with lots of interesting detail. The dress design is up next, and I just love this color palette. It's a great balance between a deep saturated green, a pale gold, and a warm peach. The highlight of this dress is the skirt, which carries the motif best. It's got a metallic ring of arrows fitted over a gradient skirt. It's also got star decals in the peach trim. This embodies Sagittarius perfectly. Despite my praise, I think the arrow motif on the shoes is a little extreme. It's a lot of detail and the bright blue is distracting. They had it right with the stockings but ruined it with the shoe. Pearls, gold lining, bright blue? This is a lot. Thankfully, the rest of the design is pretty strong. When idols push each other to new heights, their Dressia can dressy up into new forms. This brings us the strange case of Sagittarius Milky Way. See, while Pegasus Angel shares a few themes with Aurora Pegasus, the same can't be said for these two. Milky Way is an entirely new design and fails to stand out as a final dress. While the galaxy texture is creative, the white underskirt looks unfinished and draws way too much attention. I really love the kimono, but I'm not a fan of the huge galaxy texture. It's a real downgrade to Love Sagittarius Gradient. Despite that, the shoes are pretty sleek and I can't hate the concept too much. It is very vindicating that the rare fixes some of the problems I identified, scaling down the texture to a shimmery scaling one. I also love that the white skirt was reduced to a mere trim and the wavy cuffs on the shoes. This one has a subtle aquatic theme. It's very pretty. So far that's 2 L's for the dressy ups, with this one feeling like a lollygothic rare rather than a final power-up. Let's move on. The remaining Sagittarius series are all themed around the zodiac and an emotion. They've also got very delicate art. The general design is a long flowing dress with a frilly collar and a starry texture. The pointy collar retains the arrow motif, and the heart decal is really pretty. Finally, they've all got fun boots with scalloped flaps and star buttons. My personal favorites are Brave, Grit, and Love. It's a good mix between dressy and comfortable. Unlike the rest, Hope and Grit both get second designs. Hope's design is an amber dress with a scalloped white cross. It's very modest and feels appropriate for the theme. Grit's second dress is a really pretty gothic design. While I love the angular cuts and colors, it lacks any connection to Sagittarius, a recurring theme for these second designs. The next Dressia we'll cover are the Leos, starting with Noble Leo. It's a lion with a stylish blue mane and a classy sash around its neck. I love that its tail is a Leo symbol and the fact it wears golden jewelry. A regal Dressia with a regal dress to match. Noble Leo is a pretty white dress with a cropped blue jacket. The jacket is a strong structured piece which pairs well with the pleats. I love the lacy white collar and the star buttons that really pop. The white dress has a gorgeous diamond tile pattern that really suits this design. The brown sash is also a classy touch which adds intrigue and balances the brown stripe on the shoes. It's such a clean design. Noble Leo also features a PR form. It's a massive striped dress with rich brown accents. I love the unique cut of the top as well as the longer sleeves. The golden accents look great next to brown, and the stripes carry both a sky motif in the blue stripes and a regal motif in the white ones. Finally, there's the shoes which retain the blue tiles, forming a white crown at the tip. It's a really stellar PR that I could actually see in a former series, perhaps Stars Season 1. Chic Leo is a classic brown recolor, but also features a second design. The top keeps the diamond tiles, but paired with plain brown shorts and in such dull shade, it's an awkward match. Grand Leo has the same problem, with a pale top but a really gorgeous skirt. Thankfully, its second design is much better. It's a cute knit outfit with pops of green and white accents. It's such a girly outfit. In my dreams, we'd have this featured as Cupid's indoor outfit. Finally, there's Elegant, which is kinda cool, but still struggles to match. What a shame. Aquarius is pretty unique as one of the only Dressia with just one design. The Dressia itself is a cute water maiden leaning out of a jug. I love the flowing hair and the dangling sleeves. Let's start with a rare Dazzle Aquarius. The golden details make a great accent, resulting in a really strong design. I love the jug-shaped sleeves that look heavy with water, and the wide blue skirt that resembles both wavy water and endless space. The remaining Aquarius designs are all simplified recolors in soft pastels. The only exception is Ornament, which instead serves as a Christmas design. This one features Christmas colors and snowflake detail. I find the shoes a bit too divorced from the style, feeling rigid and plain compared to the wavy shapes of the dress. I like it, but I don't love it. For a Christmas design though, it is appropriately festive. The next Dressia we meet is the Scorpion. It's one of the stranger designs due to its lack of a face, but I do love the chain tail. We're gonna see that later on. The final rare is a little odd though. I've never seen this color palette in Aikatsu, but the more I look, the more I can forgive. I like the shorts with the scorpion stripes, and the long dangling necklace. The biggest offense are all the pops of magenta. It clashes with a darker palette, and the childish footwear doesn't really match the Dressia's style. I'm especially mad about the pink leg straps that look both cheap and tacky. The bronze palette is much better, giving a grounded, scholarly vibe. It's funny how a little change can transform a whole design. Bronze also has a second design, with a lovely caramel skirt. I don't see any Dressia features, but it is very cohesive. Love how the browns are balanced to keep the whole thing readable. I really love the steel variant for its cool blue palette and its very fancy second dress. The gold accents really pop, but this design does feel closer to Aquarius. There's a lack of distinction in some of these, but I'm willing to ignore it for now. The final design is Titanium, which adds a checkered pattern and really cute pink accents. I really love this series and would have loved to see it used in a photo shoot or even a school drama episode. So after 3 long series, we're finally at the last horoscope type we'll be covering, the Gemini series. As part of Planet's promotion, they actually made a whole PR for this one. The design is quite extravagant, featuring ruffles, lace design, and a large ribbon. I love how detailed it is, but outside that, it lacks the strong theming we expect from Aikatsu. Considering the Dressia's theme, I would have liked to see symmetry or some allusion to Gemini. While it is a great dress, it's not exactly a good cord. The other Gemini are just as ornate, packing impressive levels of detail. My favorite would have to be Classic with the blue and gold palette. I love the use of white down the bodice and on the ruffles. I also like how dark the stockings are since they pair well with the skirt. The use of lighter colors to break up the palette keeps it both readable and interesting. Royal has a cute ruffle neckline, and if not for the pattern, I'd really enjoy this. With how it's been placed though, it just looks incomplete. Wisdom is equally bad, with a great palette wasted on a boring design. The dress is just too simple to justify these awkward frames on the skirt. It's not even a good silhouette. I do love the top though. Finally, there's Strict with black and burgundy. The palette gives it a luxury feel, especially with the skirt's golden pattern. It's all very classy. That brings us to the end of the horoscope type, but also the end of part 1. Let's move on to part 2 and see what's in store for us. The story type is a mix of classic fairy tale elements and is really unique. The Dressia all live in books, which is also a unique touch. They're quite varied, but all feature fairy tale theming. The first one we meet is Wonderland Tale, which is clearly based on Alice in Wonderland. It looks really distinguished. I love the quill bow and the rabbit-eared clock on the hat. It combines all the story's motifs into one cohesive character. The dress design is a fun mix of contrasting colors and patterns. There's blue and red, then black and white, as well as the stripes, diamonds, and paper scribbles. The white blouse matches the white skirt, and the quill bow stands out while also carrying the attributes theme. The red corset is eye-catching, but the gold lining really helps it pop. Great detail with the card suits too. Finally, there's the paper scribbles, which are so creative. I love this little detail so much. The skirt is another masterpiece with dynamic detail that adds a lot of rhythm. I love the red sash paired with beads and gold, as well as the card suits. The cards are a useful way to fill space and really clarify the theme. From head to toe, it all screams Wonderland. Finally, there's the shoes. So far, we haven't seen that many great PR shoes, but these feature dark tiled stockings paired with blue Mary Janes. It's very simple but effective. Wonderland Tail is a perfect example of contained chaos. There's a lot going on in this design, but through proper framing, the design remains cohesive. Through the muted palette, the dress maintains a classic look. There's also enough plain pieces to balance all the details such as the white sleeves and the red underskirt. It is a perfect PR. The rest of the Wonderland series feature a cropped jacket and pants in a very boyish style. The first we'll see is the Wonderland Tail Rare. It keeps the palette and features striped pants and a golden pocket watch. I love the playing suit shorts too. Wonderland Garden is a sleeker design with a clean green palette and minimal detail. The tile blouse is stylish and suits the formal design. Wonderland Sleep has a nighttime palette with cute pops of lilac and teal. It's very pretty, especially the striped belt. Finally, there's my favorite, Wonderland Suit. The poker theme leaves a strong impression, and the palette is striking. I love the two-tone jacket and the black tile belt. The rich color of the pants looks perfect. It's probably the best one. The next Dressia we'll cover is Ivy Sleeping. This one is based on Sleeping Beauty, and fittingly, it sleeps in its little book. I love the green locks of hair and how simple the design is, at least in Dressia form. The dress itself is a generic green fantasy dress. I love the idea of a thorny vine dress, but I think the execution is lacking. The rose collar is a cute touch, but it's only used again on the boots. I also like the golden vines at the bottom, but once again, it's isolated at the bottom, leaving the skirt feeling unbalanced. There's white vines that are clear in some lighting, but it's such a pale detail that it's easy to miss. I would have preferred to see rosy armbands or more golden vines on the skirt. It looks unfinished as is. The PR isn't much better, but it is very cute. I love how the dress wraps around the white bodice, and the gold lining really accentuates the shape. The rose collar and waist bow also ground the design by framing the top and guiding your eye down the outfit. Despite all these positives, the skirt also features minimal detail with the same white vines we just complained about. The white stockings match the bodice, and the green shoes match the bows and collar. It's a cohesive color palette that does a lot with the rose theming. Slight improvement, but still lacking. The rest of the Sleeping series are really beautiful princess dresses. I love the abundance of color palettes and patterns. Wheat Sleeping has a pale gold texture with beautiful golden vines. The skirt is so pretty. Pure Sleeping is equally pretty, with the skirt having rose art and viney pleats. It's a very creative design. The next two are Rose and Thorn, which are recolors but also have second designs. For Rose, it's a fun little dress with a rose collar and a tiny ascot. I love the little jacket too. A little odd, but still cute. Thorn's new design is much better, with a silver-lined pattern on the top and a clear blue skirt. It's a great palette that keeps the princess theme through the collar. I really like this series except for Ivy. The third and final series we'll cover in this video are the Arabian Night Dressia. These are depicted as tiny little owls wearing turbans, featuring stars on their belly. I'm not sure how culturally sensitive these are, so please let me know in the comments. There's 3 main designs with 2 boyish ones, and a third dress design. First, we'll cover Desert Arabian. It's a white shirt paired with loose pants and a jacket. I really love how boyish this design is, both in silhouette and pieces. The loose pants have a really fun shape, and the cape adds creative detail. It's very different for Aikatsu, and I love how the pants mirror the sleeves in shape. The Dressia stars feature on its chest, and its cute little feather is on the shoe. It makes good use of its Dressia inspiration and tops it off with a great color palette. The jacket and pants are striking, but are balanced by the white jacket and golden jewelry. It's all spaced out enough to keep each part of the outfit interesting. Scorched Arabian has a lot of energy with its bold palette, but Oasis is pretty boring. Sand is pretty down to earth though. The next major design features rounder shorts and a crop top. The genie lamp on the waist confirms my suspicions that these designs are based on Aladdin. I like the shorts print as well as the jewelry, but it is very revealing for this attribute. The third and final design is a wide dress with sheer sleeves and scalloped edges. They also feature much bulkier shoes. I really love the Scorch variant with its simple red palette, but Oasis is pretty gaudy. Maybe I just hate the shade of yellow. Finally, in the promotional cords, there is a Dressia based on Princess Kaguya. It's kinda jarring to see the bamboo stick out of the book, but it is quite charming. The dress is a decorated kimono featuring vivid gold and floral illustrations. The color choice is striking while also representing its inspiration. The sleeves and obi are my favorite part. It's a very solid design. So that's all the story Dressia for part 2. There's one more later on, but I want to save it for the next video. With all that covered, let's move on to the second new attribute is sweets. This is one of my favorites for its narrow thematic focus. By limiting its inspiration, this type has the most cohesion of all the attributes. The premier Dressia is Sweet Whole Cake. It's a cute pink creature just covered in dollops of cream. The strawberries are fitting accessories, and the cake cross-section is iconic. I think it's a perfect design. The dress itself is a 10 out of 10 in theming, color, and design. What a perfect PR. It's a large pink coat over a smaller cream skirt with white stockings and simple creamy shoes. I love the concept of a cake dress and the execution is perfect. I really love the creamy lining of the coat, cuffs, and shoes. It adds a lot of volume and frames the skirt perfectly. When combined with the pink sash, it really elevates the whole concept. The cross-section on the skirt is quite believable as it's surrounded by cream, just like a real cake would. Finally, the shoes are just really cute. The pink bow, creamy lining, and strawberry are so sweet. It is a perfect design. Now let's talk about the rare. I'm really confused by the team's direction on this. Sweet Whole Cake is a great design. It is hard to mess it up this bad. The fruit print on the skirt looks cheap and dated, while the strawberry buttons feel kinda lazy. This looks like what they made at the start of Arcade, back in Ichigo's era. The shoes especially remind me of Happy Rainbow. This is a bad Happy Rainbow design. The rest of the Whole Cake series features similar designs, with whipped cream being a teal recolor. It's better but far from good. The cheese Whole Cake is quite interesting though. It's such a festive design. Lavender is by far the strangest though. The strong tile pattern really stands out from the plain peach dress. It is definitely a choice. Now thankfully, there are some good designs in here. The peach Whole Cake designs are both pretty good. I love how the second one features a stripe of fruit and cream lining on the skirt. It really is cohesive. Lavender's second design though is the same. I think the pattern is still really strong, but the colors just aren't working. This shade of purple is too pale to leave an impact, and the stronger peach dominates the palette. It's really bad. The next Dressia we meet is the Crepe. I love the shapes on this one. It's got a cute creamy ponytail. The Crepe's cover looks so pretty in the Dressia art. It's one of my favorites. The general design is a mini dress with a crepe underskirt. Melon is the strongest design, with a big lime bow and melon accessories. The polka dot dress is cute too, and pairs well with the brighter elements. The shoes fully commit to the crepe theme with a crepe cuff and melon accessories. It's great. Beyond the structure, Pop Melon Crepe also has great colors. The white stockings match the top, and there's melon green across the design. The PR retains this palette, but loses itself in the shape. While I do love the crepe skirt, I wish it was more exaggerated. As the biggest part of the design, maybe a more dynamic wrap would be more impactful. Despite that, the top is pretty good. The delicate sleeves are probably my favorite part. Next up, we have the lovely crepe. This one has Valentine colors with a gorgeous shade of red and delicious chocolate accessories. From head to toe, this design is perfect. The remaining designs commit the cardinal sin of being boring. It's a boring pattern on a boring dress. Without the bow and accessories, it's really hard to stomach these. They simply lack the detail Aikatsu is known for. The final Dressia we'll be covering are the Macarons. The Dressia is pretty cute too, with a little hat and a macaron body. It's so beautiful. The dress doesn't disappoint either. Let's start with present Macaron. I love the bold striped skirt with a heart print and the creamy lining on the skirt. The teal ribbons are a great accent, and the boots are really cute too. I find the top a little plain, but I appreciate the detail around the bow and sleeves. The skirt is by far the strongest element and really holds up this design. The remaining variants are all really pretty with a rounded pattern on the skirt and less detail in the sleeves. Of the 4 flavors, my favorite is pistachio for the yummy palette, followed by apricot for its bright colors. Choco strawberry has a great design too, but I would make the skirt's chocolate drops white and feature more pink in the design. Choco mint macaron has a unique palette, but the pattern is a little too plain. It's a very cute series overall. Choco strawberry and pistachio also feature second designs, with a pretty blouse and shorts. Once again, pistachio's colors are elite, but so are chocolates this time. I really love how monotone this is. As you can see, the sweets attribute has pretty cohesive designs. Due to the simple theme, these ideas could easily translate to a good design. The skirts are the perfect example, with each making direct use of their inspiration. This frees up the rest of the outfit to play around with structure and color. It's a lot easier to design a dress based on a cake than designing one based on a zodiac sign. So what has the fairy type been up to? Last time we went through its extensive pastel lineup, but this time the palette has clearly shifted. Part 2 introduces the newest Dressia, the Phoenix. It's quite a thematic shift from the Pegasi, using warmer colors and a warmer rainbow palette than the cold Aurora. I really appreciate how much range it gives the attribute, but I think it poses a unique challenge for the designers, a challenge that I feel they failed. Pureful Phoenix is a sunset colored dress with sheer sleeves and feather accessories. Given the concept, I'm a little disappointed by the execution. The dress's color is perfection, having a sunset gradient, creating a fiery palette that's really unique for Aikatsu. Sadly, the other elements are quite tacky. I think the light jewelry and lace collar look fragile when paired with a large multi-layered skirt. I also feel that the phoenix feathers are a bad fit for whatever's going on with the skirt. It's also ugly and uncreative, I can't stand looking at it. Given the massive orange wings, I was expecting more feathery elements, but perhaps they were trying to differentiate it from the Aurora Pegasus. Given the final fairy PR, I think we'll see the downfall of the fairy type throughout the rest of this series. The only real success are the shoes, which feature cute cutouts, white trim, and a pretty golden ribbon. I think it's a very mismatched cord that should have featured more feather and flame elements on the collar to match the complexity of the skirt. Overall, it's a pretty bad outfit. The Phoenix also features a rare form, which is a much brighter poppy outfit. The dress is now sleeveless with a cute tallow collar and a fizzy orange color. I like the cute pom-poms and the fun flared out skirt. The bright shoes are also a bold choice, which I appreciate. Overall, I think it's a much better design. It doesn't borrow as much from the Phoenix though, which is definitely telling. The remaining Phoenix designs are normal and they're all equally cute. I especially love the pink and blue designs. I want to imagine the skirt shape is inspired by the wings, but I just don't see the Phoenix influence in these. It's a very odd Dressia that doesn't add much to the fairy type. Amazing boots though.
The other Dressia I'd like to include in this fire section are the salamanders. Now these I find especially ugly for their saturation. I'm gonna start with Burn, which commits the same sins as the Phoenix. I think it's such a bizarre dress with a scalloped skirt and the bright blue bow. What is happening? At least Torch is more appealing, but the best is still Flame for its palette and delicate details. It's the most successful of the salamanders. The Dressia are very cute though. Love the big wide-eyed gaze, and whoever gave them a little tie has my full appreciation.
When looked at along the other fire Dressia, I think it shows the limits of the fairy type and the struggle to incorporate more diverse design concepts. The previous Dressia were all standard girly pastels, which was aided by their wintry inspiration. These concepts aligned with the winter theme to create a really strong first part. However, the inclusion of these two fire Dressia really muddies the palette and makes them some of the uglier designs. To further highlight my issues with Fairy, I want to wrap up the jewel type in this video. They didn't get any new designs, but I did skip over Fortune last time, so let's cover that. I think this is the first awkward design in the Jewel series. The disembodied cape is such a bizarre element. The head jewel is equally detached, leaving the creature feeling disconnected from its jewel theme. It feels like a random body wearing its jewel, whereas the rest were a lot more integrated. Thankfully, the outfit is a 10. It's so unique, the cuts, the shape, all of it. Let's start with Emerald. This one has the best palette. I think the gold is an overused accent, but it doesn't fail here. The skirts and sleeves are both unique gradients, and the gold jewelry accentuates that transition. I love the skirts cut with the darker pleats and the wavy bottom. It combines both round and angular shapes to create a strong silhouette. This is best seen with the sleeves and the skirt. Sadly, the shoes don't carry this theme, opting for much simpler designs. I appreciate the dark stockings to match the sleeves, but the blue ankle strap is completely out of place. Perhaps if there were leg warmers to balance the design. Morganite is a lot tamer with a pastel palette of peach and coral. I really like this one. Without the sleeves, the skirt is the main highlight and it adds intrigue to a basic design. The outfit is simple and girly. Lastly, we've got Aquamarine, which is mostly light blue. No real comment, I think it's rather monotone. Perhaps with some greater contrast, the details could pop in this one. Within the promotional chords, we also find the Garnet series. This is a similarly simple Dressia, but I do love the regal crown. Once again, massive missed opportunity. Aikatsu Academy, make it happen. The dress itself is a round, crimped design. It's a very unique shape. I'm really in love with the jewel type silhouettes. The Passion variant is a classy red, with a rich fizzy texture in the bodice and dark maroon gloves. The fur armbands add to that luxurious feel, but the boots just throw me off. They look pretty cheap next to the dark stockings and dress in general. I also think the golden accents are unneeded. The dress is just fine without them. Jewel cords are meant to look classy, so we needed that crown on the Dressia to top it off. Green and Mandarin are the only variants featuring their own textures. It may be my color bias, but I do prefer the green one. The pleats really complement the dress's gradient. By remaining dark, it also retains some of that mystique. Mandarin is a lot brighter though, making it feel somewhat juvenile. The final jewel series in the entire game are the Glories. Here we see a slight shift in the Dressia's design. These are actually from part 4 and look closer to the Cosme types than anything before them. While I'm unsure how they were all designed, it's clear that as the game went on, the Dressia designs got more disconnected from their original ideas. This will happen across types, but here we see the lack of prominent jewelry and the usual amorphous cloak that we see with the jewel type Dressia. Thankfully, the design is still pretty good. Glory Turquoise is a beautiful blue dress with gold and silver jewelry. There's a cute little bodice with a gold belt and sheer sleeves. I also love the snowflake detail down the skirt. It's such a unique print. The matching gold and silver lining on the skirts is a great touch too. The greatest part about this design is that each part has careful detail. Even the golden heels feature delicate detail and little blue gems. All of this works in tandem to create a pretty iconic send-off for the type. Within this series, we also find Glory Jade, Glory Coral, and Glory Carnelian. Carnelian is a tropical design with golden lining, and it's got great colors. However, it does show how prominent jewelry has taken a backseat to smaller, intricate jeweled patterns. Coral is a lot plainer though, with a bizarrely misplaced sakura theme. The worst would have to be Jade, with a bizarre floral design and earthy colors. This series seems to draw from different cultures, so it lacks cohesion. Overall, I appreciate part 2 for its new attributes. Sweets was a big hitter and story provided a much darker palette. Despite that, we are gonna see Fairy get worse and eventually get replaced by a new type. I think it's a really interesting series, so I wanted to break it down, and I hope you're enjoying watching us go through it month by month. I hope to finish this sometime later, but I'm happy to give this as much time as it needs. So let me know what you thought of part 2, and if you enjoyed this, let me know what chords you liked and what you expect from AIKATSU Academy. Until then, see you guys next time.